Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking about religion. Religion is a huge topic. It's in a lot of people's lives daily. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about how it got into the African continent. We're going to talk about what it's done to the black race and its future in the black race. So, we're going to start off with just a little history lesson. So, the first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to be talking about two religions specifically, Islam and Christianity. Now, keep in mind, I am religious. This comes from somebody who is religious. However, my version of Christianity is pretty different from most people's. So let's just keep that in mind. Anyway, so we first start off with around the first century. This is when, individual people from Ethiopia are discovering Christianity because Christianity uh, begins in the Arabian Peninsula. So people at this point are actually discovering Christianity. Individuals, nothing major, nothing large scale. It's not until the fourth century where the king of Ethiopia, this is why people like to say the Ethiopian Bible, the oldest Bible, whatever. The fourth century, right? The fourth century, King Azana converts to Christianity, and his entire empire follows him. Why does this happen? Because back then there was no separation of the church and the state. There was no separation of religion and state. So if a king is a certain religion, his entire empire is that religion. Look at Constantinople, whatever. So around this time, King Zana converts to Christianity because when he was a kid, he had a tutor who was a Christian, and that tutor converted him to Christianity. Fast forward to about the seventh century, Islam starts to make its move into the African continent. Powerful rulers like Mansa Musa accept Islam, and so as a result, his entire Mali empire now also becomes Islam. So now we're talking large scale conversions of people into religion. And then you fast forward to about the 1500s or 1700s. This is when the violence starts happening. The Portuguese make contact with Africa, they become soldiers, and they're essentially forcing people into Christianity. And obviously, we have colonialism with the Anglo Saxons. They come to Africa and they make a lot of people Christian. And so that starts a domino effect of Christian and Islamic people and Christian and Islamic people. And we all know this is essentially the pattern that it follows. Now, in terms of Islam, a lot of their violence is focused more on the North Africa. Okay, Northern Africa is where they focus most of their violence on, which is why a majority of Northern Africa, even today, is still Muslim. Now, as we know, they go there by military expansion. They do their whole crusades and whatever, and a majority of them become Muslim, pretty much, right? And so that leads us to today, or maybe not today. We're gonna go back to around the time the transatlantic slave trade happens, right? Now, again, most of the slaves at this point are Muslim. I think about one third of all of them were Muslim. Now, they take these people, put them on ships, bring them to America, which is at this point a majority Christian state. So now at this point, a lot of people are being forced to convert to Christianity. So then that lands us in a time where all these people are converting to Christianity, and a lot of these leaders are now starting to make their way into Africa to spread the gospel, right? Because at this point, Africa is very poor, and a lot of these people, I mean, these like white pastors, these white nationalists who believe, who believe that we are lesser than, and that they are coming to save us, playing into more of the white savior trope, right? Whatever. So that leads us to today, where we have a large majority of the population in Africa, West Africa, who are devout Muslims, devout Christians, and they believe in prayer, right? And they're sitting there and they're praying and they're praying and they're praying, and people are robbing them clean, and nothing is being done. I think this is where my version of Christianity differs from a lot of people's, right? If somebody smacks me in the face, I will not turn the other cheek. If somebody comes and robs me, I will not pray for them to get a change of heart. Because when you look at the Europeans, right, the Europeans obviously interpreted Christianity as a much different way. Look at things like manifest destiny. They believed that they were given a mandate by God to go and conquer all these lands. As a matter of fact, the slave owners, the early slave owners, not even the early ones, slave owners in general in America had books on how to convert Negroes to Christianity. Now, what does this mean? This tells you that for a large majority of the time, religion has been nothing but problematic. Okay? Religion has been very problematic to the black race because I'll give you an example. You will have black Muslims, right? Black Muslims will come online when they live in these Western countries and they'll look at you and they'll say, I'm a Muslim first before I'm black. However, if you look at how Muslims treat black people in Islamic countries, I'm talking Arabian Muslims, it is not good. Okay? Most Muslims that live in Islamic countries are under some sort of systemic oppression. I think the number is today that 27 million black people are still owned as slaves in Islamic countries. These Islamic countries go into Africa, they steal the women, they steal the little boys, and they bring them to their country to treat them as the bottom of the barrel. So if you're looking, you're starting to see a pattern here. Whether it's a Christian society or a Muslim society, both of these societies have very devout black people who follow this religion. However, those exact devout people are still the bottom of the barrel. They are still treated as the bottom of the barrel. It doesn't matter what society you go in, Christian, Muslim, capitalist, communist, socialist. The bottom of the barrel is black people. They always make the bottom of the barrel black people. That should tell people something. But sadly, it doesn't. Okay? We have, I'm going to use Ghana as an example. We have people in Ghana today who are there and doing nothing to advance the country forward. We have people in West Africa today who are doing nothing to advance their country forward. They don't feel like arming themselves with the knowledge of how the universe works. They don't feel like doing anything. They think if they just wake up and they pray hard enough, everything will just fix itself. Everything will just fix itself if they pray hard enough. That is a problem. Okay? Colonialism was not just a physical thing. They successfully cucked the mind of billions of people worldwide. Okay? To the point where they think, hey, it doesn't matter that my country's being robbed clean of its resources. It doesn't matter that every single place I go, the West, the East, Christian, Muslim, it doesn't matter that every single one of these places has people that look like me at the bottom of the barrel. And that is a problem. Okay? That is a problem. And so I believe in the future, religion has no place in the black race. Okay? If you want to individually practice your Christianity, go ahead. Fine. But to have it on a institutional level where people are being butchered because of religion is unacceptable. In Nigeria, we all know about the T group, Boko Haram, right? I saw a video some months ago. It was an attack at a church where they burnt down the church. The church was burnt down. People lost their lives. And again, I am a Christian. People lost their lives. And the people who survived in that church went back to that burnt down church building to go and hold a service and pray. The people who were in that burning building that survived, they came back to come and hold the service. Instead of galvanizing and protecting themselves. That is a problem. This problem of whenever these T groups, whenever these enemies of ours come to us and commit atrocious acts of violence, we have to somehow be the bigger person and just pray and hope it works out is complete nonsense. It is not how the world works, and it's something that needs to be systematically dealt with in the event of a black state. Okay? And so a lot of these people are cucked. It is very sad to see what religion has done to the black race. But again, I do believe there is some hope, right? Again, I am a Christian. I'm going to throw that out there, okay? My version is wildly different, okay? I do believe that if everybody followed the Bible and its philosophy, the world would be the world would be a better place. If everybody followed the Bible to a T, I would need to make this video, right? However, the inherent evilness of human beings is something that causes you to take a step back and see, maybe me constantly praying isn't working. Maybe me coming back to a building that was burnt down by T groups, by violent people who wanted nothing but my destruction simply because of my religion isn't working. Maybe I need to arm myself. I need to organize something to get rid of these people who keep harming me for simply existing. And once I have that, if I want to practice my religion, I'm going to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do implore you all to take a deep, good look at religion. If you don't believe me, go do all the research yourselves. Black Muslims go online and then they say that they are Muslim first, but in Islamic countries, they are systematically, from the people up top, discriminated against and treated like garbage. All these Islamic countries funding these T groups to destabilize Africa some more so they can rob it clean of its gold. It is not a coincidence. This is not a coincidence. Okay? Those who are the Arab Muslims look down on black Muslims. Those who are white Christians look down on black Christians. Just look around the world today. There are millions of religious people all throughout Africa. All throughout Africa, there are millions of religious people. But look where that's gotten us. Look where sitting down quietly and being this good little boy has gotten us. And so I end this video with saying that while religion does have some good, it has caused a lot of issues for us. Okay? The institution of religion, if the black race is to have any success, must be dismantled. And it must be systematically dealt with. And if the black race succeeds, it has its own ethno state. And at this point, you want to practice your religion by yourself, fine, but it will not be a systematic thing. Thank you.